checks. How do you pay these guys?
Straight cash, homie.
Leo the Lions, like now I go by the lineup. And if you can't make your mind up, I know you know where to find us. So don't go by blind luck, you should probably subscribe. Click play, kick back, chill, watch it all live. And welcome. I am Leo, and this is in fact Leo the Lineup. Thank you for returning. However, if you're new, feel free to hit me with a like or subscribe. I'm extremely new, like I've said, and that goes a long way. This is actually going to be my first NBA video. Fanduel finally released their opening day slate for Tuesday, December 22nd. We got the Lakers and Clippers and the Nets and the Warriors. Finally get to see KD and Kyrie play together. Should be intriguing. Should be a tough team to try to figure out that rotation, but thought I'd make this video, maybe kind of dumb down NBA DFS, the things you want to look for. Obviously, minutes are a big factor, points per minute, usage, stuff like that, and just the general strategy, as most of my videos have just been NFL, obviously. So without further ado, let's just get into it. First thing you're going to want to do when it comes down to the first game of the year and a new season is you're going to want to establish these new look rotations, new players on different teams. Some of these guys haven't played together yet, so it's going to be key and also very difficult with it being the first game of the year to try to establish or anticipate how these rotations are actually going to look like. The Lakers, couple new players. You got Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, Wes Matthews, Marc Gasol, plus LeBron James, Anthony Davis. You got KCP, the Morris brother, a couple other people, Caruso, obviously, Kuzma. It's going to be tough to see how they kind of mold that team and what the playing structure is going to look like. They obviously don't have Rondo no more, etc. So that's just one team. Another team, you got Kevin Durant, Kyrie on the Nets. How is that going to impact Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, etc.? The Clippers, they brought in Serge Ibaka. Luke Kennard they traded for. They still have PG-13, even though he was complete dog shit in the playoffs. They got Kawhi. They always have a chance when they got Kawhi. Then you got Golden State. Steph's healthy, finally. Clay, unfortunately, went down again, but they got Andrew Wiggins. They got Kelly Oubre, and a big thing that I'm looking for on this slate in particular is trying to establish the big man. There's a couple questionable tags on Draymond Green and James Wiseman. I'm not an expert on whether those guys are going to be ready for the opening game. I'm hoping so, and I'm going to assume so, but you also have Kevin Looney coming back, and they're all super cheap. Kevin Looney, James Wiseman, Marquise Chris. I honestly think it's going to be key to kind of focus in on who's going to be that big man as those injuries kind of clear themselves out for the Warriors as they go up against Brooklyn. The next point I want to make is just kind of a strategy aspect of NBA DFS compared to NFL, like I've been touching on in my previous videos. And game stacking with a quarterback and a receiver and running it back with a player from the other team. Game stacking in NBA typically isn't as viable because usually they have larger slates. However, with these 2-game slates, it's completely live because you can just hope that one game kind of is just a generally higher scoring matchup than the other one. Maybe it's a 90 to 95 game and the other one's a 120 to 128 or goes into overtime, something crazy like that. On the smaller 2-game, 3-game slates, game stacking certainly is an advantage, but once it gets to 8, 9, 10 games, obviously the more teams involved, the more spaced out the highest scoring players on the slate are going to be, so just something to keep in mind in NBA DFS. I know this video hasn't been breaking news or groundbreaking by any means, but the next thing I like to do when I'm first looking at a slate is establishing that must-roster player. You're going to notice both Lakers are the highest players on this slate. Generally, I'm going to take my pick and kind of cancel the other person out and hopefully be right. However, you're going to want to figure out who you think you have to have and also how that salary factors into the lineup that you're going to build. One thing that stands out to me like a sore thumb is that price on Mr. Durant. 8,500. He's getting a little run in the preseason. If he gets anything close to 30 minutes, that's going to be the lowest we will see him all season long, mark my words. But like I said, you're going to really want to focus in on who are these top tier players and which ones you really believe are must-haves, which leads me into my next point, finding and establishing value guys, which let you get to these expensive guys. Like I said, you're going to want to establish value players who are playing in roles that are generally more expensive than the salary tag that they are given for this slate. Usually dependent on injuries. A guy is usually priced like a bench player is filling in for a starter. Obviously, value is going to be there. This is going to solidify as we get closer to Tuesday and actually see who's going to be available and who's not going to be available. First, you got Lou Will at 5,300. It's nice because this isn't a new guy. You kind of know what you have with him, but the new look rotations can factor into how effective or how much he's going to play. Could play more, could play slightly less. However, he looks good at 5,300. It is the first game on the new year, though. Then you got Alex Caruso, 3,900. Nice to have another guy returning to his former team. New look rotations. They just got Dennis Schroeder. They don't have Danny Green. No more Rajon Rondo. Hard to kind of anticipate exactly how many minutes he's going to get, but he figures to be in the rotation and certainly playable at that price, especially on a 2-game slate. Luke Kennard. The Clippers just traded for this guy. Seemingly like him, obviously, if they're going out of their way to trade for him and acquire him. He's a shooter. Certainly looks to be in their plans, and at 4,000 looks like a great value play to me. Then you got Dennis the Menace coming in at 5K flat. The newly acquired Dennis Schroeder seems to be their point guard. I know LeBron James is the ball-dominant player on that team, but no more Rajon Rondo, no more Danny Green. Like I said, new look rotations, hard to factor how they're going to use this guy or how many minutes he will exactly get, but figures to be a great play at 5,000 nonetheless. Leading me into Wes Matthews, yet another Laker player, and I'm realizing I have too many, but I'm not saying play all of them. These are just some options about a week away from tip-off. Wes Matthews, crafty veteran, coming over from the Bucks where he didn't get as much playing time as he probably should have. Figures to be in the Danny Green role. Like I said, hard to determine roles, rotations, exact minutes, but he looks like a great value at 3,600 nonetheless. Kent Bazemore, who apparently turned down numerous contract offers to be a part of the Golden State Warriors, and they can probably use his offensive explosion from time to time after losing Clay again. They're pretty deep on the wings, so I would hold back on it a little bit, but 3,600, super good value it seems if they use him. They have Wiggins, they have Oubre, a couple other people that they like. However, he does figure to be in the mix, and at 3,600, near the minimum price, you gotta like Kent Bazemore. And here's some more Golden State Warriors for you. Like I alluded to earlier, I think, at least looking at the slate from about a week out, that the Golden State Warriors big man is going to be crucial to get right on this slate at least. It's either going to be James Wiseman, Kevin Looney is another value at center, or you got Marquise Chris at power forward. Going to be interesting how the new look Warriors kind of operate and how their lineup looks and whether or not Draymond is going to be ready in time for the opening game. I would hope so. Hasn't played in forever, so should be good to go. But I'm really focusing my attention on the big man, and I'm going to establish a value play whoever looks the best once everything kind of solidifies. And then there's Kyle Kuzma coming in at 4,200. The price is right for a guy who you know is going to let you down unless he took a massive step forward in the 2-month layoff since them winning a championship. Highly unlikely. Still worth a play at power forward on Fanduel since you have to play two. Another guy at power forward that I do really like is Serge Ibaka playing for the Los Angeles Clippers, and hopefully they give him 30 minutes because he will fucking smash at that price that they have him at. To wrap this one up short and sweet, I really like KD at 8,500. I do think that's going to be the lowest salary we see him at all year long. Gotta love Steph Curry's price. He's going to have a lot of volume. He's going to shoot the ball. He's going to put up high numbers. His price is only going to skyrocket as long as he stays healthy. And then really kind of just determine which Los Angeles Laker you think is going to have the better game. Probably going to make a couple updated videos as we get closer to tip-off and the first game of the year. But until next time, guys, peace out.